You understand the infinite banking concept. You know that wealthy families use whole life insurance as their personal banking system. But knowing about IBC and actually using it like the ultra-wealthy do are two completely different things. If you're new to IBC and want to understand what it is and how to get started, I have another video that covers all the basics. Go watch that first, then come back here for the advanced strategies. Most people think IBC is just about financing cars without bank loans. That's kindergarten level thinking. The real money, the generational wealth, comes from advanced strategies that wealthy families have perfected over decades. Today, I'm revealing 7 specific ways ultra-wealthy families use their IBC policies that go far beyond avoiding car payments. These strategies will show you how to turn your policy into a wealth multiplication machine that works even while you sleep. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some families have policies worth millions of dollars and how they use them to stay rich generation after generation. Here's how wealthy families use IBC to dominate real estate markets. Instead of getting traditional mortgages, they borrow from their policies to buy properties outright. Let's say they find a rental property for $200,000. They borrow the full amount from their policy, buy the property with cash, then rent it out immediately. Here's the genius part. Cash buyers get massive discounts. They can close in days instead of weeks. They avoid inspection contingencies and appraisal issues. While everyone else is fighting over properties with financing, they're snatching up deals before they hit the market. The rental income pays back their policy loan, but their cash value keeps growing the entire time. So their money is working in 3 places: growing in the policy, generating rental income, and appreciating with the property value. When they pay off the policy loan, they own the property free and clear. Now they can borrow against the policy again for the next deal. One wealthy family I know has bought over 50 rental properties this way. They never qualified for a single mortgage. Wealthy entrepreneurs use IBC to fund business deals that banks would never approve. Banks want business plans, collateral, and personal guarantees. Policy loans need none of that. When they see a business opportunity, they can access capital within days. No loan applications, no credit checks, no waiting for approval. They set their own repayment terms based on the business cash flow. Here's a real example. A wealthy investor found a struggling restaurant for sale at $50,000 below market value. The owner needed cash immediately. Banks would take weeks to approve a business loan. By then, the deal would be gone. Instead, he borrowed $80,000 from his policy the same day. Bought the restaurant, fixed the operations, and sold it 6 months later for a $150,000 profit. The entire time, his cash value kept growing in the policy. Most people miss opportunities because they can't move fast enough. Wealthy families with IBC never have that problem. This strategy is pure genius and perfectly legal. Wealthy families use policy loans to create massive tax advantages that regular people never see. Here's how it works. Let's say you're in the 37% tax bracket and need $100,000. If you take it from a 401k, you pay $37,000 in taxes. You only get $63,000 to actually use. With IBC, you borrow the full $100,000 tax-free. Your cash value keeps growing. When you die, the death benefit pays off any outstanding loans and passes the rest to your heirs tax-free. You've essentially converted taxable income into tax-free wealth transfer. The IRS gets nothing. Your family gets everything. Wealthy families take this further. They use policy loans to buy life insurance on their children and grandchildren. They're building tax-free wealth for generations while getting current tax deductions. This is where IBC gets really sophisticated. Instead of making one loan at a time, wealthy families create velocity systems where money moves constantly between opportunities. They might have $3 million in cash value across multiple policies. They borrow $1 million for real estate, $1 million for business investments, and keep $1 million available for quick opportunities. As deals pay off, they immediately redeploy that money into new opportunities. The cash value keeps growing while the borrowed money generates returns elsewhere. Money never sits idle. One family I studied has money moving through 15 different investments simultaneously. Real estate, private businesses, commodities, even lending to other investors. Their IBC policies are the central hub that funds everything. Ultra-wealthy families don't just buy policies for themselves, they create family banking systems that span generations. Parents buy policies on children when they're young. The cash value grows for decades. When the children need money for college, starting businesses, or buying homes, they borrow from their own policies. The parents also buy policies on themselves with the children as beneficiaries. When the parents die, the death benefits fund the children's policies. The system becomes self-sustaining across generations. Some wealthy families have policies that have been in place for over a century. Each generation adds to the system and benefits from the accumulated wealth. This is how generational wealth actually works. While everyone else panics during market crashes, wealthy families with IBC see opportunity. Their cash value isn't tied to the stock market. When everything else is falling, they have stable capital to deploy. During 2008, wealthy investors with IBC bought distressed real estate at massive discounts. While banks weren't lending to anyone, they had immediate access to capital through policy loans. They bought properties for 30 cents on the dollar, businesses that were struggling, and stocks at rock-bottom prices. When markets recovered, they made fortunes while everyone else was still recovering their losses. This happens every market cycle. Those with capital during crashes become exponentially wealthier when markets recover. Advanced IBC users structure policies for international asset protection and tax efficiency. They might have policies in countries with stronger privacy laws or better tax treaties. Some wealthy families use policies to move money internationally without reporting requirements that apply to bank transfers. The cash value can be accessed anywhere in the world through policy loans. They also use IBC to protect assets from lawsuits and creditors. Policy cash values have strong legal protections that bank accounts don't have. In many states, policy values are completely protected from creditors. You don't need millions to start using these strategies. You can begin with whatever policy size you can afford and scale up over time. Start by identifying your biggest monthly payments: mortgage, car loans, business expenses. Instead of paying banks, redirect that money to policy loans. Pay yourself back instead of paying others. Look for small investment opportunities you can fund with policy loans. Maybe it's lending money to friends at higher interest rates than your policy charges. Maybe it's buying undervalued items to resell. The key is developing the mindset that your policy is your primary source of capital, not banks or traditional lenders. Think longer term than most people. While others are focused on quarterly returns, you're building systems that work for decades. Every loan you make to yourself instead of a bank makes your system stronger. Remember, wealthy families didn't build these systems overnight. They developed them over generations. But every wealthy dynasty started with someone who decided to stop feeding the banking system and start building their own. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications of new videos. Also, share, like, and comment this video. The strategies you learned today aren't theory. They're proven methods that wealthy families use right now to multiply their wealth while everyone else stays trapped in the traditional banking system. Your IBC policy isn't just life insurance, it's your personal wealth multiplication machine. The question is, are you going to use it like the wealthy do, or are you going to let it sit there, earning basic returns? If you want to learn more about what IBC is and how to get your first policy set up, watch my other video where I break down the complete basics and implementation guide. The ultra-wealthy know these secrets. Now you do too. Time to put them to work.